Hey internets, it's Jake from a Terrain Domain, and this is Guild Artisan, as it kind of says right here. It has been a while, friends, since I have done a live crafting stream, but something about the winter, something about autumn, it just makes me want to craft. So that's what I'm going to do. Hey, I see Megan already over in the Twitch chat already. I don't think I've ever run a crafting stream where Megan wasn't along for the ride. So welcome, Megan. At this rate, I don't know if I've ever done a stream on this channel without Megan being a part of it. So if I'm rubbing my hands together a lot or hunching up, it's because it's freaking cold. Oh, no wonder my heater got turned off. I thought it was taking a long time to heat up out here. It's winter in Michigan, so it's a bit chilly out, and I'm on my porch. So yeah, we're gonna get going here in just a few minutes. I've got a project that's been kind of sitting on the sidelines for a while, and I spent a little bit of time getting some things ready for the stream here, just to make sure I could actually do this, because it's been so long. But yeah, hopefully you can hear me all right. And I think I've been doing the streaming thing long enough that I've got all this little stuff figured out. Ooh, yeah, Dwight, I know you could be here in less than 20 minutes. So if you just came and stood behind me with your arms draped over my shoulders to cuddle me, that would be great. If you're watching on just Twitch or just YouTube, I'm monitoring chat from both chats. So if it sounds like I'm talking to people that aren't there, that's why. I might actually, I don't know if I'm ready to do this. I just literally yesterday started playing Magic the Gathering Arena, but I don't know if I'm ready to stream it yet, because I am such a noob when it comes to Magic. So I might do that after this stream later tonight, but we'll see. But yeah, for the next probably 2 to 3 hours, I'm going to be working on this project. Some of you may recognize it. It is the Roman themed tower. I'll drop some dice in here in a minute, but it's got this handy, well, the roof's not attached yet, but you can pull the top off and then the dice get dropped down inside there. I finally figured out how I'm going to do the railing all the way around, and as you can see, I still got some fascia boards put in place there. But so this is what we are going to be working on today. I've got the chat literally right in front of me. I will be keeping a close eye on it, so if anybody has any questions or comments while we're going along, I'll more or less, since I talk to myself anyway, I will more or less just be kind of talking through the process. Also, those of you that are listening, this is the first time. I didn't want it to just be dead silent when I don't talk. So one, can you hear the sounds of the tavern that we're in? And two, is it loud, quiet, too loud? Let me know, and I'll make those adjustments. I'm running some Sirenscape in the background. All right, let us switch over to our other view here. All right, so there I am over here in the, whoops, over here. Hey, in my little tiny window. And I'll try to adjust the camera as needed while we work on this. It's on a boom arm and it keeps popping out of the thing. But one thing I'll do real quick, because just again as a reminder, as you can see, I gotta finish up a couple of the roof sections too. Let's grab some dice. Let's grab a handful of D6s. We are going to, let's see, 6, 7, 8 D6s, because we're gonna roll that fireball damage. So you pull the display topper off, and let's see, I kind of wrangle this stuff, wrangle the dice in a bit. There they go. Wow, that's a lot of fours. 10, 15, and 20, 28, 29, 30, 31 points of fire damage. And of course, let's roll some d20s with advantage. 15 and a 4. Nat 20 and a 2. All right. So that's the dice tower in action. As I said, if you have any questions while we're rolling along here, if you feel free. What I decided, I'm going to pull this roof piece off. We may do some of the shingles yet today. What I'm really excited to get to in the not too distant future here is the painting. I love painting these things. But what we're going to do is I'm going to get these other two fascia pieces put into place, I think, along here, and let those so they can dry, or those other three I should say, I only did the one. That'll let them dry, and then we're going to have to create some cross beams in there. But while those fascia pieces are drying, we can work on the railing. This was an early attempt, and around one of the times I got frustrated with this project and had to stop. This turned out not too bad. I think it's actually supposed to go on this side here. Move so you can see it. It's made all out of foam, but it's super flimsy. Even once glued into place, it's very delicate, and I really felt like it was going to be too easy for it to break. I mean, look at this. So what we'll be doing today is I picked up some of these 24-inch basswood pieces that are 5/32 of an inch square. So we'll be using these to make the railings. It's going to be a lot more sturdy, glued with wood glue. So yeah, I keep finding these things all over the place. There's so many of these dice boxes. Alright, so let's find our fascia pieces. They're supposed to have been the railing pieces, but I'm not going to pitch these, even though there's a couple broken ones in here, because these are made to look like timber. And they might have a use, if not in this project, in something else. I do have pre-made fascia pieces from when I worked on this before. This is my box of parts for this project. Alright. So, unfortunately, I thought I marked these. Must not have. I could have sworn I marked these. Did them before. Which would have been a good thing to do. Okay, I can see this one has a notch cut out of it already. So that's going to be for this side. Bring the camera down a bit. Get a little better look there. So the notch is cut out here to allow it to fit over this piece here. Nope. Put it upside down. Fit over this piece here. And then I have it from when I remember from when I did this the first time. I have it so that there's a bit of an overhang up across the top. But once this is dry, what we'll do is carefully take the blade along the flush side there and trim it down. So we are gonna use some tacky glue for this. Generally don't use hot glue when the spaces get a little too small, because then you get that bleed over and it can actually be difficult to clean up. My tacky glue cap came up missing, which means hopefully there's a skin over this. Hopefully this isn't all dried out too bad. And taking the looks like the top got knocked off. These top little capper pieces always come off. Also looks like formed a like dry skin over top. So we might be good. But honestly, it's been a while since I've crafted. And I don't know why. I mean, I love running games and I love crafting, but I just haven't had the motivation. But we're gonna fix that. I'm hoping to do these, make these a regular thing on Saturdays. It's good and quiet around the house. Daughter's at gymnastics. My wife takes her up there, and so yeah. All right, gives me plenty of time to do some crafting and have you along with me while I do it. So this actually, I think, is the first time I am simulcasting on YouTube and Twitch for a live crafting stream. All of our games are run on both Twitch and YouTube. So yeah, give me a shout out where you're coming from. If you're here for the crafting, or if you're a regular game viewer and you want to see what this crafting is all about. I'd also love to hear, besides the dice tower builds that are commissions that I'm working on, I'd love to hear your ideas for what you'd like to see, any tutorials, anything you'd like to know how to make. Miniature Rain Domain was founded on the basis of crafting tutorials, and I'm looking to get back into doing that on a pretty regular basis. So let me know if there's anything in particular that you'd like to learn while I am doing these broadcasts going forward. Make sure I grab the right size. This one has a weird... ran into some very weird issues when I was measuring all this out. The initial... oh, I know, that might be popping out because of that. I might have to make a piece to slip in there. Something weird. A little too thin. Yeah, we'll get it fixed. Okay, just wanted to make sure I was using the right piece. So let's gonna do nice steady thin bead. Oops. Glue along there. Now, I do wish I got all these lovely tavern sounds going on. Background, I wish I could just summon a waitress or waiter over here and barkeep. Have them bring me. With this weather, I wouldn't mind a hot spice cider or something. They're called a hot toddy or something like that. Dwight could be my big bearded nerd. Can be my barkeep. Right. I really like this Aleene's original tacky glue. I use it for a lot of this stuff. It's better than regular Elmer's PVA glue because of its tackiness. It helps. It actually secures very quickly, but still lets you move your parts around without sliding around like crazy. It happens a lot with regular PVA glue or white glue. So that went in pretty good. It's been so long since I've done this. I think a lot of my brushes are in a bad state. All right, I forgot to do this beforehand. Don't worry, this is one of my mugs that I use for a paint and stuff like that. All I'm doing is just wetting a paintbrush, and down in here, I'll turn it and see if you can see it. Right down in here, where this edge is, a little bit of the glue just kind of bleeding through. And I like to take the water and the paintbrush and just help spread that around. Even though the stuff dries clear, this will prevent any weird clumps and just make it easier when I go to trim piece. Alright, so that piece went into place. I need to touch up along the bottom here. Mostly that went on pretty good. Okay. So what we need to do Alright, I don't know if these scissors are gonna work or not. Yeah, those are very sharp. I have to trim this overhang here. Excellent. And I will, of course, be able to clean that edge up later. Most of that, big part of that's getting trimmed off once this dries. Gotta figure out my notch here. Use our... Keep this so you guys can see what I'm doing. Need a notch here. Come on. I have to break out my magnifier light here. My old eyes make it difficult to see. So, yeah. Hey, Megan, if you're still there, I don't want to spoil anything, but sort of related to crafting, have you made any kind of anything official about a thing that you might be doing not too distant future? Maybe with Dice on Ice, or I think that's vague enough that nobody but you knows what I'm talking about. I don't want to spoil anything if it's a surprise, but other than to say, hey, Megan's got something she's working on. And actually, I say Megan, but really Dice on Ice is Megan and Connor, the two halves of Dice on Ice. Okay, that'll fit very well. And I'm kind of doing this thing where the left edge is overlapping on each one of these. I guess you can see what I was doing there. I was fitting this into this spot here. We prepare, put this one into place. Put it where it belongs. I always remember when I'm putting glue down, my 7th grade woodshop teacher, who I think his name, Mr. Scott, when it came to glue, always said, a little dab'll do ya. Don't want to go overboard. Excellent, excellent. So, don't be afraid to speak up in the chat if you're hanging out. I'm watching the chat, and will gladly respond to any questions or ideas you might have. Anything you want to announce or whatever. Otherwise, well, I mean, regardless, it's still going to be me just talking to myself while I craft. But hey, I do that anyway. Just have you listening in while I do so. Ooh. Always keep paper towel handy while working on these things. Alright, we're going to wrap this one in just like this. This is what it would sound like if 6 days until summer we're crafting. Although, to be honest, I don't think 6 days until summer has the patience for this kind of crafting. This is not his milieu. 6 days into summer is Tabaxi Bard. I play on Monday nights here on Mini Terrain Domain for the All That Glitters, the Waterdeep Dragon Heist campaign, DM'd by the one and only Mike the Piper. Check out Mike the Piper on YouTube, where he's got some gameplay videos, he's got some a couple accent videos, some monster videos, and he's just a really good guy, really good DM. At M the Piper on YouTube, or excuse me, on Twitter. So a little bit of leak through glue inside here. So we take our wet paintbrush. We need to try. Definitely need to tighten up the camera setup for crafting. I need to go back to just a straight up overhead camera with an alternate camera on the side. I don't have enough USB ports. Even with this powered port, I had to unplug my second monitor. I could run 2 cameras in here. Definitely gonna build a streaming computer at some point in the future. It's one of the larger goals on Patreon. Mini Terrain Domain is on Mini Terrain Domain on Patreon at patreon.com/Mini Terrain Domain, where eventually I would like to have where I can have a couple monitors as well as up to 3 or 4 cameras attached as well. It's going to take a little while. That fascia's in place. Just got the one more. This one's going to need 2 notches on either side. And might need to be trimmed down for length. Yep. Do that first. Move this carefully so you guys can see what I'm doing here. The last fascia piece. I do need to trim it for length. My little surgical scissors here. Trim that down. And then I need a couple notches. So notches are for each side here. Fit over what's there. Approximately 1/4 inch. And then just eyeballing them. Right, that's good. And I'll cut one on the other side here. So, those of you that are just chilling out while I'm doing this, what are you guys doing? What are you working on? I know Megan tends to write. I don't know how you can write while I'm blathering on, but oh, split a little bit. Yeah, I'm curious. What are you folks working on? Are you crafting something? Are you writing something? Are you cleaning around the house while I talk? Ooh, that puts a little out a little. The integrity is compromised. Let's see. I might love it. Oh, it's laying. Oh, that's not tall enough. There we go. Oh, it's laying down. It was putting pressure on the fascia on the other pieces. Let's fit this again. Test fitting is always important. Make sure your little spots are your cutouts are sufficient. Weird. I might have to do some filling on this paint later. Gaz Van Dyke. I'm repainting a wagon I found at the dollar store. Awesome. I haven't been... wait, you found a wagon at the dollar store? Huh. Is that like a Dollar Tree, Dollar General? I haven't been in one in a while. I usually go in there just scouting out what they have. I haven't seen wagons in there. Yeah, that's always a cool thing if you can find something that's the right scale and repaint it to look a lot better. All right, that's gonna work. It's a weird bend. Yeah, Dollar Tree. All right, cool, cool. Thanks. Yeah. I'll have to stop in and check it out. Check out Dollar Tree for that. The other place I like to scope out once in a while, and I haven't done this in a while, is take a tour through a couple of, or look through a couple of Goodwill stores and Salvation Army, basically any kind of a secondhand store like that, and check out what kind of toys and stuff they have, to see what there is that might be able to be repurposed, or simply like you're doing, and just repainting it. All right. Clear glue down there. My ancient Leatherman here. Not really ancient, but I have had it since 1995, actually. 23 years. My brother gave it to me when I was in the Army, right before I went to re-stationed in Germany and then deployed to Bosnia. This Leatherman has been all over the world with me. Now it assists me in the crafting of new worlds. Sure, we got contact all the way around. Beautiful. Little bit of a weird angle where I trim that with the scissors, but like I said, we're gonna fix that with once it's all done, dried, excuse me. Once these pieces are all dried, I can go back, trim these 3 fascia pieces, and I can file things down and get it all where it needs to be. We are going to need these trimmed when we get to the point where we do the next section that we're going to work on, which is the wooden pieces. Might actually try to trim these starting now. Let's see, I put this one first. Now, the glue's not set enough for me to comfortably do that. Just leave that. Raise the camera angle up just a little bit for a minute there. Alright, so what we are going to need to do is create a interesting is this surface here. I kind of made it so that it's all this roughly the same dimensions, the inner and outer section here. But what I need to do is very carefully measure where the 4 corners appear, so that we can in the appropriate spot drop our corner pieces. What I'd like to do for this railing here is I want to have the railing go all the way around it, thinking if I can construct it, the front and back pieces, and then make it so that it glues together with the 2 side pieces. I'd like to be able to actually just drop it down into position. I'm hoping that gluing it in place is enough to secure it, but I might actually have to do something where I have to drill into all of the posts and maybe put like toothpicks or pins in the bottom. I have a Dremel drill press right back there over my shoulder in the little inset, and some tiny drills where I would be able to do that. We'll see if that time comes. What I need to do is grab one of my note cards. Always keep some scrap paper and some I thought they were scrap. Oh, you know what? These ones are scrap. Side. And some of them. Oh. I want to show you something kind of cool. Hey, Brian. Welcome. Brian was one of the players in my first ever online live stream game about 3+ years ago called it's called Pray for Smiley Bob, written by Chris Perkins for 4th edition D&D. Glad to see you, Brian. Alright, I got some scratch paper here. One of the things I was just going to show is this card here. Believe it or not, this card represents a session of combat and encounters in a D&D game. I track all of my encounters this way. Initiative, hit points, conditions, all this kind of stuff. Anyway, what I need to do... there's a couple more. What I need to do is mark down these dimensions. So this off to the side, and basically we're gonna go 8 inches in the front. So that's 8 inches. And I'm gonna check the back. It should be square. right within a 1/16 of an inch. So 8 inches on the back. Then for the sides, seven 3/4. Perfect. Perfect. And 7 3/4. This is going to make the spacing a little awkward. I got to accommodate for that. So yeah, you guys might get lucky and hear some Bumble math. Yeah, Gaz Van Dyke, you are 100% correct. That is the Sunless Citadel game. That card was from. Sunless Citadel will be returning a week from, well, in just under 2 weeks. We've run a couple one-shots because we had players missing. And next week is American Thanksgiving. So, yeah, Brian, I would like to game with you again. It's been a long time, man. All right, so I got my measurements here. I think I'm hoping to be able to cut these with the X-Acto blade instead of there you go, one that's already cut. Instead of trying to use a miter box and stuff, that's not as accurate. I'd like to get a miniature, to make a really tiny little, like this big table saw. I think you can get it at Harbor Freight. But there's also like a saw blade attachment for Dremels. But I'd need like a little table surface thing. Because it'd be kind of cool to be able to make cuts like that. So I have the benefit here of having these squares that are exactly 1 inch each. And let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This is the 8-inch one. Sorry, this boom arm that my camera's on, the where it slots into the bracket, does not. I don't have a screw to lock it in place. That is a really awkward angle. I really apologize. Hey, Epic Dungeon Tiles, welcome. And hey, Chameleon Fam, thanks, man. Chameleon Fam is a regular, one of the regular viewers. We have a lot of regular viewers on the various streams, but Chameleon Fam is not only a regular viewer, but a regular supporter of, well, let's face it, Chameleon Fam's real favorite person is Jeremy Lilly, who plays Talmud and various other characters. Over on our live play streams, Chameleon Fam is part of the reason why, through Chameleon Fam support, why we created Domain Dice, which have evolved into Domain Dragons and Domain Gorillas, that allow you, the viewers, to affect the game by letting the players re-roll dice. So, hey, thanks for popping in, Chameleon Fam, hanging out, and for dropping the $5 in the super chat. I really appreciate it, brother. You have a great weekend too. Epic Dungeon Tiles. Yeah, I'm glad you could catch a live stream. It's been a while since I've done one of these kind of live streams. But as I said earlier, I'm really hoping to start doing these a lot more. I want to make this a regular occurrence on Saturdays. This is the moment of truth where I find out if this basswood or basswood, however you say that, it is soft enough. I'm using a number 5 X-Acto. I think the handle itself is what's called the number 5. I'm not sure about the blade, but... Oh, Epic Dungeon Tiles is based in the UK, so you rarely get to catch the streams. Yeah, Brian Marshall, also over on YouTube there, watching on YouTube, is also based over in that area, and that's why when I ran the game that he was in, I got up at like 6:30 or 7 in the morning so that I could accommodate some European players. We had somebody from Ireland, and we had somebody from, I believe, from a little further east, more Eastern Europe, like Croatia or something like that, I believe. Epic. You just want me to call you Epic. Our viewer, Epic. Our Epic viewer. Epic Dungeon Tiles. EDT. Now, EDT sounds like a condition. Actually, I think EDT... Yeah. I will not call you EDT. Sorry about that. Okay. So, yeah, I'm already liking how sturdy this is. No. I think I'll be able to get away with this. I almost wonder if I might need to make a... I might need a, oh, what the heck is it called? All right, I'm not a woodworker by trade. A jig, I think, is what I'm thinking of, or like a special frame where I could have a clamp and that would hold pressure on, because what I'm going to be doing is attaching pieces all along this at regular intervals, and I'm just wondering if it would be beneficial to have a jig that would hold these pieces in place, put pressure on. I don't know, we'll figure that out. I'm a little outside of my area of expertise. Sure. One thing I thought about, by not using a what do you call it? A whole bunch of that today. The miter box is I'm not getting as straight of a cut, so I might try the miter box. The base wood is not as soft as balsa wood. Or nor is light. It's a lot denser, but it's still pretty soft and pliable. Like if this were balsa, I could just press my thumb into it and cut right into it. But it's still pretty lightweight. I think that's why a lot of model builders and stuff like to use that. Okay, let me... I need to make some marks. I need... How many of these do I need? I need another 8-inch piece because I can make 2 of these at once. Let's do that first. So I've got this handy little miter. It's got a little thing that lets it catch on the edge of the desk. But there we go. So what I'm gonna do, line it up here. And grab my marker. And we'll make a mark there. Then I'm just pressing with my fingers really tight against. Drop this in the slot. And my blade just came right out of the handle. That's fantastic. Oh. That's no good. A different blade, but the didn't have a handle. I think you're supposed to be able to use that. Was one of the reasons why I got this number 5. Oh, thing. Ah, my tools are failing me. There we go. Pull the blade out. Theoretically, should be able to tighten this down. Doesn't feel like it's tightening at all. Yeah, well, let's try this. Things are not going my way. Right. The benefit to doing that is you get a much straighter cut vertically. There we go. They're both 8 inches. Yeah, you get a better vertical cut or horizontal cut, whatever. Square, flush cut, so that doing it the way I was doing it with the X-Acto blade, I would end up with these weird angles. So I need to do that. So, okay, there's our 2 horizontal pieces. We're going to need a total of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 18 1-inch pieces. Wondering, try something. Sorry, I keep trying to. So, Epic asks, do you have a design you're working from or just eyeballing it? So the overall design of the tower really was created from looking at something. I designed the pattern here for the stone surface. And then what I did is I designed it in Photoshop and replicated it like a pattern to larger sheets, printed them out, and then I traced all the bricks to get the brick patterning or the stone pattern on here. I guess it's just I looked at a design and I've just kind of been making it up as I go, taking the measurements where necessary. So yeah, sorry Epic, for anybody that's coming in here, I'll do this. Let me, because I know quite a few people have come in since the beginning. I'm gonna switch over here to this view and show you what we're kind of the design as it stands, and give you a little more context for what I'm doing. So this is the dice tower in its entirety. Pretty good sized dice tower. It has a specific historical design for a Roman limes of the Lower Rhine design for medieval European Roman guard towers. Now, typically in the original tower design, there would be an additional stone level below here with the opening up at the top, and then a ladder that they could remove. But of course, for it to be a dice tower, it needed to be a little more functional. And then the shingles are all individually created and glued into place. I still have a couple layers of shingles to do, but this section here is the display cap or display plug, as I call it. I have a little note for which way it fits, so that when you pull it out, the client can then roll the dice in here. So I still have a couple layers of shingles to do on this sides here, and then I have to do all of the that go along the ridges here to cover that up. What we were working on today is we glued all these fascia pieces on, and when they dry, we'll trim them down. We're making a railing that goes all the way around. In the original design, there's a railing, and where those 1-inch squares are, there's actually going to be cross pieces. That's going to be really super challenging. So we're working on that piece, and then I've got some shutter inserts I'll be making to go in over the windows. And that's about it before we're ready to paint. I'll have to actually glue the roof in place. And then we're ready to paint the whole thing. You know, once I make sure it fits properly, though, I think I'm going to paint the railing and this first, because otherwise that's going to be a bear to get at all this stuff before the railing goes in. And then I'm going to make a base piece for it, what I call a dice rolling yard, where the dice, it'll help to contain the dice. It'll have some wooden palisades around it, a little bit of design to that. So that's our overall design, for those of you that missed that at the head of the stream. Now I'll return you to our regularly scheduled crafting. Thanks, Epic and Brian. Though you can go by the name Epic Brian as well, Brian. Let's go back over to the main overlay. There we go. I definitely need to figure out something better for this light. Get a little more light in on sides here, but yeah, so what I'm trying to do right now is, where'd my file go? I'm going to figure out how big an inch here. Hey, it's Castle Mac Lydia from friend of the channel, Castle Mac. Lydia, how is your foot doing? Lydia's over on Twitch. The Castle Mac crew are big time friends of the channel. And Lydia, the real life cleric, had a bit of a spill, so I saw the x-rays, Lydia. It's hella broken, hella painful, and I'm so sorry, but hey, you get to, at least hopefully this serves as some sort of distraction from your pain. And Fantasy Horizons, my friend Dan, yeah, it's good to have another crafting video up. Dan is a good friend of mine, and a fantastic artist. Check out Fantastic Dimensions, not Fantasy. What I'm going to do here is I'm trying to make this a quick and easy way to, I really need to get that camera down in there. What I want to do, because I got to make 18 of these, is I'm looking at where the inch mark falls. I want consistency, so I'm going to make a mark. I'm making a mark on the, or attempting to make a mark. Right in here on the, keep forgetting what this thing's, the miter box. So that, what did I say? Fantastic Dimensions, sorry Dan, Fantastic Dimensions is Ian Christensen's channel, and I just looked at a post of his recently. I apologize. Yes, Fantasy Horizons is Dan. So what we're going to do, if we follow this, we should be able to just line that up each time. And like, whoa, what happened to the camera? Oh. So I got to make 18 of these, so you guys are the real heroes here. Hanging out while I cut 18 1-inch pieces of wood. I definitely gotta get an upgrade to my sawing setup here. Just a few moments ago, my good fine-tooth saw came apart. So if you want to help me get a new saw, Mini Terrain Domain is on Patreon. Patreon.com/Mini Terrain Domain, where you can help support the channel and help me upgrade my janky tools. I need to make sure these are actually coming in at 1 inch. 2 down, 17 to go, and my little improvised template here seems to be working well. Yeah, I don't have... Hold on, let me finish cutting this piece. Probably shouldn't read chat while cutting with a saw near my fingers. Epic says, not sure if helpful, but what woodworkers do is create stops. So if you have a spring clamp, you could just put that down to the line you drew and slide the strips in and cut quite fast. You know, actually, I see what you're saying. I don't know. Right behind me, clamped to the edge. Don't know. The only problem with that is because of the way this works. Doing that, ow. It interferes with the ability to use the miter box properly. Great idea though, and I will look at ways to make improvements if I find myself doing this kind of thing more often. What do you mean from the top down? Slide the strips in. You have a spring clamp. Oh, wait, I think I know what you're saying. Wow, the tension's really jacked on this. I just screwed up by putting these... Hold on. I've had all my clamps sitting on this thick edge over here, and as I go to use it, I realize what it's doing is it ruined the tension on my springs. So hopefully those will bounce back. In the meantime, I still might be able to improvise here. That doesn't go down enough. Welcome to Mini Terrain Domain, where we are constantly digging around in drawers and rattling things around. No, don't feel bad. I like to hear ideas. All right, so here's what I've done. I'm using just a binder clip and lining it up with the mark that I drew. Let's just make sure. Just make sure here that's dropping right in just perfect. Shouldn't move around at all. So let's give that a shot and let's just see what happens. So I just barely move that in. don't want to put too much pressure on it because I don't want to push it. Alright, and then this little leftover guy is the leftover. So what I'm doing now is just checking. Once these are all cut, I'll trim them up, file them up to neat edges. But hey, thanks, Epic. That was a really grand idea. You check it against these ones. Make sure these are all actually coming in at inch. Sorry, I'm off camera again. I think the first one I cut. I guess I gotta do 19 of these, so I want to make sure they're all coming in at the right. Let me get in the camera. There we go. This one's. There we go. Yeah, we'll be able to file everything in close. So, okay. 15 more to do. Oh, that heat's kicking in. Still waiting to hear back. Brian asked how the voiceover work going. So for those that don't know, I've off and on I submit auditions for some voiceover work, and I recently picked up a gig on a project, doing just a small part as a, no pun intended, as a Royal Guard dwarf. And I've recorded my lines, got good feedback from the director, got paid for one of the episodes. The project's on a bit of a hiatus, so I'm hoping to get paid for the other one. But a lot of the other auditions that I auditioned for, the projects are still in process, so I gotta wait a little bit. But yeah, still working on it. And I, of course, keep doing voices in all my games. Brent Arkley, also a regular viewer. Welcome to the stream. Yeah, I've done just kind of getting into it. It's something I've always wanted to do along with like broadcast stuff, which I'm kind of making happen on my own. I actually run a couple promos that I run during the live stream games, are promos that I produced, and I also did all the voice work for the Cryfoth promo and for the adventure mixtape that you can get on drivethrurpg.com exclusively. Adventure mixtape, a music and adventure anthology, where I co-wrote the book along with Kelsey Dion of the Arcane Library, Ken Brees of Burling's Beard, and Sharang Biswas. And it's 4 adventures in one book, 80 pages. So yeah, I do some of my own voice work, and of course I'm a broadcast streamer on Twitch and YouTube. I know it seems like a lot of sawing for a 5-30 seconds thick piece of wood, but if I go a little slower. And Epic, this, you know what I'm going to do? Because, Epic, you gave me the idea for this incredible stop. Watch this. This is now my... It's turned around. For you, it's upside down, but this is now my Epic stop clamp that will stay with my jig here, my miter box, for doing these kind of cuts. Brilliant suggestion. Brian says, I have a voiceover gig next month. I'm doing the voice of an evil god. I'm not hearing a lot about it, so we'll see. Yeah, it depends on the platform you go through. First of all, congratulations. Depends on the platform you go through and who the individual project managers are, or directors. Sometimes communication is just few and far between on some of these gigs. I got a gig as a voiceover gig in a Star Wars fan film over a year ago, and I have heard very little about this project, so I don't even know if it's ever going to happen. It was it wasn't a paid gig, but yeah, we'll just see. Yeah, this is working out great. I don't have to worry about if it's at the keeping to make sure we're not drifting at all. I don't have to worry about keeping it visually lined up on a line. I just move it to the end, and really awesome idea, Epic. I appreciate that. And then I just make these nice smooth cuts along here, and yeah, there we go. We're in a flow. Yeah, we're going to make 19 of these, and then we're going to look at the cleaning up the edges of these, and then getting them glued in. I'm going to use a Elmer's wood glue, which is, I'm going to try it out. I don't think I'll have to pin it. But it's a really strong bonding glue. Works really well with foam, XPS, foam core. Hey, Granny Carol. I think I knew you were here in spirit when I suggested that some people listen while they are doing chores around the house. Carol likes to put on her wireless headphones and clean up around the house and make dinner and things like that. Actually, Granny Carol is one, after I finish up this dice tower, we'll be doing some work on a dice tower, a Dragon's Horde dice tower, that's a completely original design and concept of mine, using a Reaper Miniatures dragon as part of the build. Yeah, I look forward to doing that one too. 11, 8 more. Nope. 7 more. And these are holding pretty true to the 1 inch. That means with this little binder clip isn't this binder clip isn't slipping. Epic. Yeah, make a dice tower, man. This is the second or third one that I've done. That I've got more ideas. I've got the Dragon Horde one, and I don't know if Megan's still here from Dice on Ice, but I've got a concept for a kind of a almost diesel punk refinery that we'll be doing, and also for a charity event in the spring. I will be making so that they can auction it off. It's going to be kind of Tomb of Annihilation themed. It's going to have a classic like Tomb of Horrors devil face where the dice come out of, and it's going to sort of, the overall design is going to look like a Chultan temple or a Mesoamerican style tiered square pyramid, and and then you drop the dice in. There'll be like vines and stuff all over it. You drop the dice in, they tumble, they come out the mouth into a courtyard with runes and symbols on it, and there's a spot near in one particular spot that's about 2 by 2 inches that will be a trap door, so that if dice land on that spot, boom, the trap door drops. It's a 45-degree angle, and they spill out into a secondary dice tower or dice tray in the front. Just a fun little trapped tower, and I'm going to be making that one to auction off for a charity stream or charity event. Which, make sure you're following at MTD_Jake on Twitter if you're on Twitter, to see, just keep up to date on the things I'm working on, and I'll have some more announcements about that charity event in after the first of the year. Right, let's see, 18 of these. I have 6. Okay, I only need 3 more. See, this went so much quicker than I would have thought because of Epic's epic stop. Ow. 2. I could keep going with this because I am going to need to make more, but I don't know how many more I need for the other sides. Well, actually, I know, let's see, we've got 9 on the side, but the 2 corner ones on this side also will be shared by the other side, so we're going to need, I'm just going to keep going. I need 14 more at least. So I'm going to make another 18, so I have some spares. Right now I have 18. So yeah, we're just going to continue on for a few more minutes with cutting these pieces since we're already on track. That way I don't have to worry about remeasuring and setting the handy little jig stop. Also, another fun announcement here. I announce it on the gaming streams all the time, but we are on YouTube. Mini Terrain Domain is at just over 8,500 subscribers. I'm going to be doing a giveaway, an epic giveaway at 10,000 subscribers. And when I hit 9,000 subscribers, I'm going to announce what I'm giving away. But not until we hit 9,000 subs. So we're still just a little under 500 subs away from the announcement of the epic giveaway. And this is going quick. You guys have no idea how much trouble this railing system has caused me. It actually made me stop working on the project for quite a while because I got frustrated, and there's a little thing called imposter syndrome where you start to doubt that you even have the ability to do what you're doing, and why do people care, and blah blah blah. And just had to get past all that. And another thing, in the past when I've done a lot of my crafting, the sawdust out of here, when I've done a lot of my crafting, it's been just me. I would watch videos, you know, watch seasons of Doctor Who, Star Wars movies, Lord of the Rings, whatever. I watched a lot of Dexter. Got through that whole series mostly during crafting. But it's very isolating, very lonely. So you guys, oops, bumped the camera. You guys hanging out with me while I craft just makes this go by so quick. And like, I just glanced at the clock. I've been doing this for an hour and 20 minutes. I didn't even realize it. So yeah, thanks a lot for joining me on a Saturday afternoon or evening. For those of you watching from Europe, it's got to be, I believe it's around, depending on where you're at in Europe, it's probably around 8:30 at night. A little too long. I'm gonna put that over here with the spares. So, okay, I'll be done with this in just a minute. I only need 6, 7, 8, 10 more. Epic and Brent over in the YouTube chat are having a laugh. Trying to keep up with the chat, and I couldn't figure out what you guys were talking about a couple of times, and I realized you guys just have a rapport going back and forth. Some lovely inside jokes. Yes, I'm giving away Epic. Or I'm giving stuff to Epic, apparently. Alright. My thumb hurts a little bit from the pressure of holding these things in place. Grab another piece. You know, it's amazing. I only paid $3 for these. But getting so much, going to be getting so much mileage out of this. So I got a lot more people watching than earlier, so I'm going to ask this question again. For now, I'm working on the dice tower. I do have a couple in progress builds. I know Lydia was around when I was working on this several months ago. I've got a dice tray, custom dice tray. And I am going to be doing a dice tray tutorial. There's twofold. And this is actually something that my patrons have helped with. I was able to purchase a acrylic roller and roller guides from Green Stuff World, and that should be here in a few days. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to, let me switch cameras here. What I am going to do is I'm going to be doing a very simple, like how to make a dice tray, a sturdy dice tray to use at your own table for very little money. Like I'm talking minus the dice roller, but I'm gonna show you how to do it without the dice roller. That you can make one of these dice trays for yourself, for your friends, for under probably $5. You know, if you already have the paints and everything like that. A little more if you need to pick up that stuff. And in just a couple of hours. And then what I'm going to also do is I'm going to, in addition to the basic style, I'm going to make several of these dice trays. And I'm going to make them available on probably Etsy or something like that at a really reasonable price. I'm talking like 15 or 20 bucks a piece for these trays. So that you could have your very own mini terrain domain created dice tray at your table, if that's something you're interested in. And thank you for the compliments on the beard. I'm very proud of my beard, and I've earned every one of these gray hairs all throughout here. So, all right, we got about 10 more of these 10 more of these pieces that we need to make. So, still using the Epic guide stop. There's one. Hope if I moved it. It's actually amazing. Like I said, I mostly work with foam, not wood, but you just let the saw do its job and don't have to put a lot of work into it. It just cuts nice and easy. And this base wood is, like I said, it's pretty soft, not as soft as balsa. It's cutting up really nice. If I had a finer tooth saw, though, I wouldn't be getting... I feel like it's snapping off a little bit rather than cutting through that last little bit. I'm not too good at conversion rates, Epic, so I'll have to look at some things on Etsy and when it comes to these kind of things and see if I'll be able to offer international shipping and availability. The good news is these kind of creations that I make like this are very lightweight. By weight, the shipping shouldn't be too expensive. But yeah, I've shipped things. I shipped a book once to the Netherlands, and I think I paid 20 bucks in shipping. But that's why I'm also showing you how to make your own. So, it's going to be a very simple. We'll do it as a live crafting thing, but we'll also break it out. I'll edit it down for a kind of compressed tutorial. All right, so we've actually, I don't know when I started doing the actual cutting on these, but we have made 18 of these 1-inch pieces. So I actually I should bring my thing back. These are all going to be, I'm actually going to have to make a bunch more for the cross pieces, but we'll cross that bridge when I get to it because there's going to be some mumble math involved in that because I've got angle pieces, and then one of the angle pieces actually has to fit in a little gap with all these other little angles on it. So yeah, we'll see how that works out. Oh, Granny Carol's back. Okay, family taken care of. You were talking about how it's company to have people in your chat. I find it company to listen to my friends while I'm doing stuff too. Yeah. A little quid pro quo, if you will. All right, so I know that the other side pieces are 7 3/4. So using this piece here, wouldn't you know it? About an inch too short to work. So move this epic stop. Knocking out the sawdust. So I need to measure this to 7 3/4. I'm using the handy measuring guide here. All right, excuse me. This is for the other railing pieces. Grab another one here that goes in our pieces over there. What I'm going to do is just to make sure they're consistent, I'm actually going to line these up and I'm going to make a mark. And this time, just to make sure it comes out at the same size, I cut right on the line. That'll cover the thickness of the piece. go. Perfect. All right, so we got the majority of our pieces that we need. Put that back in there until next time I need it and remember that it's broken. That off on the side. One thing I want to do is, these are a 1/4 inch shorter than the other pieces. So what I'm going to do, I'm just grabbing a blue marker here. Just marking the ends. That way I know the marked ends are the short ones, so I don't get them all confused. So what I need to do right now is we'll move in for some. Ready for my close-up, Mr. DeMille. This is riveting stuff, guys. I'm doing cleanup on the cut edges, just to get rid of some of these the roughness on there. Ooh, let's see. Epic. Yeah, good to see you found a UK person you could trade with on the craft trade. Those shipping prices, no joke. £35 for just for shipping. If I'm not mistaken, that's, I don't know what the current exchange rate is, but that sounds like it's close to like $70, 60, $70. Let me scroll back a little bit. I missed something. So Epic asks, I only make YouTube videos, but you said about having company earlier is nice when crafting. You think streaming is more enjoyable and easier for tutorials? I think streaming is great for larger projects like this. And even for something like I was talking about for the, move that back a little bit. For the, oh, the exchange rate's really low right now. Oh, you know what I was saying? I was converting pounds using the metric 2.2 kilos to a pound, or 2.2 pounds to a kilo, I should say. So that doesn't work for pound sterling. Yeah, numbers and me, not so friendly. Back to answering your question. I think that what I'm going to be doing with that particular tutorial is crafting the whole thing. And then I will do time lapse and record a voiceover for the tutorial. I still think for tutorials, deliberately produced, edited videos are probably the best way to approach it. I kind of got the idea to do it in this way from watching Punished Props. They make cosplay and prop stuff. And what they do is they'll do these live streams and then they'll break their tutorial down out of that sometimes. And it's a great way to hit both audiences. I've been finding that when it comes to live streaming, I get a pretty even split between my audiences on YouTube and Twitch. Like right now, we're probably 60% YouTube, 40% Twitch. But that's pretty cool. People watch on their preferred platform. And people can tune in, tune out however they want to over the course of while I'm building something and just kind of hang out and chat, which you don't get. We get awesome interactions like Epic with your, you know, being able to influence. Imagine if I was making this as a tutorial and you watched it and you were like, oh man, if he'd have just used a clamp, it would have been so much easier for him. But in this live stream format, you were able to say, hey, try this out. I tried it out a couple different ways, found what worked, and went with that. So you directly influenced what I was doing because of it being a live viewer. And then if I were, I'm probably not going to do a tutorial on this, but if I were to do a tutorial, what I could do is I could say, when working with the miter box and the handsaw, this tip comes courtesy of Epic Dungeon Tiles. Use a spring clip or binder clip to put it on your mark and use it as a stop for quick and easy, template or something along those lines. So, yeah, there's different ways you can handle it. You got to find out what works for you and works for your audience. I was streaming solely on Twitch for a while and was realizing I was neglecting my large YouTube audience of, several thousand subscribers. So that was kind of what did it for me. Granny Carol says, I get notifications in a more timely manner from Twitch, which is why I end up here for your streams. That's a good point. One thing that's important if you are watching and you want to make sure you get timely notifications on YouTube is down by the, I think it's by the subscription button. Let me take a look. I don't know if it'll show up on mine. Somewhere down in there, maybe by the subscription button, or somewhere in there, should be a little bell, a little chime icon. If you hit that bell, hit that chime icon, that will get you notifications when streamers go live on YouTube, or when they post new videos. You'll get more directly notified. Another thing, YouTube just rolled out. I've only made one mention of this or used it once, but they have a new, basically like a timeline where you can share videos and talk to your audience separate from videos. So it kind of functions almost like a Twitter or Instagram feed or something like that. So if you're following on YouTube, you can check that out as well. I have no idea how it appears. I think I just shared the promo for the adventure mixtape. And this part's taking a little bit. I think what I might do here, I keep forgetting to make a break stream card for this stream. So what I might do here is take a break just for like 5 minutes to get a cup of coffee, and grab a quick bite to eat. So what I'm going to do is, I've done this in the past on this stream. Whoops. I got to make my break card and actually make a nice little break thing that'll run the promos while I'm on break. Epic says, I'll be honest, I don't think I would have found you on Twitch, as I still see it as only video gaming. I used to stream some video games, but I found needing a schedule on it not practical. Technically, you don't have to have a schedule. To build your audience, you need regularly scheduled games. And our live stream games are every Sunday, Monday, and Thursday, and that does help with building your audience. But you can stream whenever you want. On a break. We were on a break. I've been watching a lot of Friends. Back in 5. Alright, this is my janky break thing here. So what I'm going to do is I will, let's see. Wonder. It's not doing anything. So I will be back in just a couple minutes while I take care of some food and drink needs. So what I'm going to do is just mute my mic. Maybe what I'll do is I'll turn up the sounds of the tavern. You can listen to that in the background. There we go. So I will be back in just a moment. And I'm back. Thank you for your patience. Probably turn down the tavern sounds just a wee bit. I don't want the sounds of the tavern taking over the stream. So do that. Sorry, I had to refill my coffee. And get a little quick bite to eat. So yeah, looking at the time, I'll probably be doing this for just a little over an hour. Excuse me, a little over an hour longer. Good to see people keeping up the conversation in the chat. All right, I'm gonna get back to doing what I was doing all along. We've got all these. Actually, before I didn't think about that. I colored these the ends on these two shorter ones, but I got to file them. Right, it's permanent marker, so it seeped down in there. Oh, that's cool, Brian. You've been working with Nelson on the Saturday Morning Tabletop. That's pretty cool. Yeah, I've been following along with him, Infinite Roleplay, as he's been developing this system. And I see Brent Arkley playing 3.5 later this afternoon. I don't generally run games or play games on Saturdays unless I get together with a home group, which is few and far between these days, sadly. I've never played 3.5. I played briefly. I had the starter box for Pathfinder a few years ago. Just couldn't get the hang of it. Me and Math. I was just really late coming into it and didn't have anybody to teach me. I was trying to do it on myself. I love me some 5th edition. I've also got on the shelf behind me, I've got some games that I want to do some streams of. Some short, like maybe like 3-episode mini campaigns or whatever, 5-episode mini campaign, something. I've got an indie publisher put out a sci-fi setting called, a noir sci-fi setting called Syntheside. I've got Tales from the Loop, Mutant Year Zero, and also the Robotron expansion for Mutant Year Zero. Kids on Bikes RPG, we ran Halloween one-shot in that setting. And then I've got I lost track of what I was saying. Oh, the 30th anniversary West End Games classic Star Wars RPG that I would love to play. I want to find somebody that's running some. I need to get Mike the Piper run me some, even if it's just a one-shot. I want to play in some Fantasy Flight games, Star Wars, Edge of the Empire, Force and Destiny, Age of Rebellion, and I don't care. I just want to play. Played one game at a con, and in 3 hours I got to roll the dice twice because we had 9 of us in the party. That's just ridiculous. So yeah. But a lot of you know that I run 5e almost exclusively on the channel, just because I love it. Anyway, to put these here. Whoops, I can't put that since I'm back. I put these down here so you guys can see how many I have left as I'm filing through these. Oh, Brian, I see shared the link to the Saturday morning tabletop, which is perfectly fine. But I didn't realize that link sharing was enabled. Unfortunate. I trust you, Brian, and I trust that that link. I am going to need the 36 pieces of wood, and I'm going to need another, probably, let's say, 36, another, like, 50 something on top of that when we get to the cross pieces. Because these are all for the railing system. And if I do this right, it should allow for the client to actually put minis up on the railing here, if they choose to. Though it's more just be historically accurate. I did at one time have a picture that I could show you, but I seem to have removed that from the stream lineup. No, it's perfectly fine, Brian. Usually that's disabled just to prevent trolls from dropping inappropriate links or malicious links and that kind of stuff. So generally that's turned off. Like, I have it turned off on Twitch, that only moderators can do it. But no, man, I trust you and I trust that link. So no worries. I didn't mean that in any way to be like a hand slap to you, but it's just something I got to look at in the settings. Like I said, it's just to prevent trolls, and you're definitely not a troll. That's kind of funny. I'm using this Sirenscape, but I don't know if I'll be able to do some of them, like the original Dungeons and Dragons content, but I actually just suspended my account with Sirenscape just because I wasn't using it very much. I didn't want them to keep taking the monthly or twice a month fee, which, don't get me wrong, it's very affordable. It's like $7.50 a month. I pay 14 bucks every 2 months. But there's a problem right now where I can't get the custom sound settings to work the way I want, and in order for my players to be able to hear it, which I guess they don't need to, but it really causes problems with the Zoom. Zoom doesn't have their audio sharing figured out very well yet. Oh, these aren't rounded. I know these kind of things make for thrilling listening and watching. I can tell you about a couple of the upcoming adventures that I'm going to be working on writing. I came up with one that it does not have a name yet, but it is set. It's more of a mystery investigation type adventure. It's 5e. But think Victorian, think influences of like Legend of Sleepy Hollow, that kind of thing. This town there's a couple of adventure hooks. There's a haunted mansion. There's a haunting happening around the village. And there's a history in this village dating back 100 years or more with a family. Where there was apparently some sort of murder-suicide, and maybe that's somehow playing in. But ultimately, the adventurers will have to solve one or two, depending on your adventurers, they may choose to solve both mysteries. They might only care about solving part of it, but it involves a Medusa and a Banshee, and a priest that went missing. And then an adventure that I ran about a year or two ago on the channel called, and I ran it for a group of friends in person once. It's called Magical Miracle Beard Oil, where the adventurers show up to the town of Prospect. This has more of a western vibe to it, but they show up to the town of Prospect, and they're greeted by a bunch of ragtag children, who some of them have beards. And the people in the town are being taken in by a snake oil or beard oil salesman, that his elixirs grant them these luxurious beards. But also people have been going missing, and they've got to track this guy down and figure out what's going on. And they find out that he's holed up in a cave under the ruins of what was once a wizard's tower. And what happened is the wizard, over all these years that he had this tower, he kept pouring potions down this drain, and they would drain into the spring underneath. So the spring water has these bizarre magical properties, not least of which is granting people the ability to grow luxurious beards, but the beard follicles actually grow inside their head, entangle in their brain, and they basically get taken over. And his plan is to bottle this stuff up and sell it all around the realm. Adventurers have to stop him. Almost done here. I just kind of like the smell of all this cut wood. And before we go on to this next phase here, I'm going to check and see if the glue set enough to trim the pieces on the fascia pieces on the tower that we put on at the beginning. All right. So, go up higher angle here. Man, that is just an awkward angle for you guys. Try something different. There, maybe that's a little better. Not too awkward of an angle. I have a paintbrush that I made specifically for cleaning up dust and debris. It's my broom. Sawdust all over here. And maybe in my coffee. See how I did that? Alright. Wait, what? What did I miss? Wait, I vaguely remember that was you, Jake. Wow, just wow. What did I miss? I feel like I missed something. Alright, let's see. Where... Exacto knife. Oh, here it is. I don't know if this blade is sharp or not. And to be honest with you, at this point, I'm not entirely sure where my blades are. Oh, the beard oil adventure. Yeah, that was me. That actually started because somebody in the Absolute Tabletop group, I'll move this so you guys can see what I'm doing. Somebody in the Absolute Tabletop group posted a link to a product that they did, beard oil, and Parker said, hey, you know, this is cool and I'll leave it up because we got some bearded people like Jake in here, but that we generally like to keep the content RPG focused. And I saw it and I said, give me a few minutes and I'll make an adventure based on beard oil. And I think it was about 10 or 15 minutes later, I said, okay, I got it. And then about a half hour later, I posted the interest post. And that was originally called Pappy Van Winkle's Magical Miracle Beard Oil. Pappy Van Winkle is a brand name of a whiskey or a bourbon that, for obvious reasons, I can't use. So it has become, well, it was Professor Kavanaugh Corsair, but for recent political reasons, I've dumped the name Kavanaugh. And it's just Professor Corsair is his name now. And he makes a cameo in the Gorillas in Their Midst and the Adventure Mixtape Adventures. Blade is missing. Alright, sorry for all the banging around. I gotta find what I did with my blades. Switch up knives here. Oh. Excellent. What I'm doing is I'm just trimming flush these fascia pieces. If you look here and see here that this one there's a lip. It's the way I put them together. So I'm just trimming off the excess that is showing through on there to make it flush. Not putting a lot of pressure on it. This larger flat blade lets me run it flush to the surface. And then I can take my file and just eyeballing along the edge here. Ooh, that one. And perfect. Lovely. Yeah. So one of the things I'm hoping to be able to do here is that, see if the bases will allow this. Yeah, it sticks out a little bit, but yeah. So I'm hoping that we'll be able to put some miniatures in there once the railing's in place, that it won't interfere. A little high, but yeah. All right. So now let's take a look at move the over here. Get the scraps out of the way. Back to that angle. Yeah, right. All right. Another scrap piece here. Okay. Taking the capping my X-Acto blade so I don't accidentally cut myself. Brings me Get our number 5 laid back in place here. Oh, there we go. All right. So here's the plan. These are my 8-inch pieces. And I'm going to use this as a guide. And what we're going to do, I've got to glue all of these there we go. A better look at what I'm doing. I gotta glue all of these wood pieces up to here. Like so. This will not be glued. I'm just using this to press in against. Yeah, you know what I'm thinking? I really wish I had the proper clamps. A text message. Alright, so yeah, what I'd like to do that would help this is if there was a way I could clamp this firmly. Wait a minute. Wait one gosh darn minute. Look at that found. Whoa. Wondering if it'll be enough pressure. I don't know if it'll put enough pressure on it or not. Do one on each side. Well, let's just start gluing and... Oh, snap. I just breathed in some sawdust. Ugh. Need that. Alright. Yeah, sometimes I find myself getting into a... want to slip into a bit of a character accent. Okay, so the only way I'm going to know if this is going to work is... I really wish... these were straight. I wish I had like a little belt or whatever sander thing so I could bump these up against it and make sure they're flush. That's my other concern, is that you're going to have some sway to them. Alright, well. So I think what I'm going to do... Yep. I'll do this. Do that first and see how that fares. I think make it a little easier. I have a feeling I'm going to regret that. This glue is really good, so I'm kind of hoping this will be sufficient. I am going to try, once I get these all in place, clamping it, but I also realized I didn't account when I measured these at 1 inch. Didn't account for the fact that there's a 30 seconds of thickness to the railing, so we may end up having to trim some off the bottom after it's assembled, which could suck. Oh well. Or they'll just be tall. The thing I'm thinking I might regret is I'm going to end up gluing this thing to the mat. But I think because the glue's just in that one point, I can get under there with a blade and pop it loose. So, yeah. Put a little bit of glue on a card here. Alright, I'm looking at the lamp and wood shaving details. I've used in the past for gluing small pieces. The wide piece of masking tape curled into a roll and pressed down on my mat. Maybe, but I want to make sure. My biggest concern with these is that I want them to be. I don't want them like. I want them straight. I'm using the lines on the grid lines, keep them lined up or this way, perpendicular. But I also don't want when they're on here like this. I don't want some of them tilting this way and some tilting this way. So I'm just gonna leave it in this manner. I'm liking that I'm able to keep it lined up. Actually, as the glue's catching on the mat, it's helping to keep it so it's not getting knocked at an angle. Where'd that mini go? Come here, Dragonborn Sorcerer. See, this is, it comes almost to his head. If I do it here, it comes up to his shoulders. I don't know. I gotta figure out before I... We'll figure that out if we're gonna cut it off. The glue is... Oh, it's not Elmer's. The glue is this. Tight Bond, original wood glue. Industry standard, professional strength for interior use. I know I picked it up at a home improvement store. I really like how fast this stuff sets, and it is sandable. So yeah, it says short clamp time. I don't know if I'm even going to clamp. Just the way this wound up glued down to the mat. So while this is sitting here, I can actually show you the additional pieces that I got to figure out is inside all of these. That one's a little narrower. That's weird. Anyway, they're going to be these cross pieces like this with a secondary, you know, 2 short pieces that are crossed in, so it forms these little X's. That's the actual design. So that's going to be a fun one to figure out. Yeah, here we are, just gluing some of these pieces in place. Some people couldn't handle it. I lost a couple of viewers. Can't handle the glue. They couldn't stick around. I'll be here all week. I need to have the CSI Miami sound effect for when I make those kind of jokes. I feel like Epic Dungeon Tiles and Brent Arkley have been doing that the whole stream pretty much, making those kind of... yeah, Brent, that's exactly where I would have picked it up, is at Home Depot or Lowe's. Hashtag not a sponsor. So this is where I was thinking... I'm going to try this. Wow, looking at this sit here on the mat, it almost looks like I know what I'm doing. Ooh, that's not cool. That's not cool at all. That definitely doesn't look like I know what I'm doing. But... oh, not cool. Not cool at all. Yeah, forget what I said about knowing what I'm doing. I made things worse. Yeah, these early ones, that glue's setting up pretty good. The big thing about it is, I feel like once the once the glue dries and everything, once the glue dries and everything's settled in, we're gonna have a good solid bonding that it should be able to take it should be able to take a little bit of, you know, getting bumped into or anything. I don't want it to be so delicate that if you look at it wrong, it falls apart. Alright, we'll let that one sit there while we go ahead and do the other one, which I can do right above it. And, yeah. Then we can start to figure out what the shorter pieces, what the spacing is going to be like on those. So, let me make some adjustments here. That tavern sound of the voice that's kind of going, excuse me. It sounds like one of the two old guy Muppets that always sat up in the box mocking everybody. Can't think of their names right now. I know I can be patient working on a drawing for hours, but I can't imagine doing that for crafting. It's probably pretty similar. Yeah, I mean, it's weird. For me, crafting is cathartic, and when I first started doing this, I used to have my crafting area out in the garage. And in the summertime is when I started doing it, and it would get quite hot. I had, I'd usually have like NPR on in the background or some music. And I would get out there and I'd go out at like 8 or 9 o'clock at night, and all of a sudden it'd be 1 in the morning and it'd be like, oh, I need to go to bed. You just get into the zone. I mean, I've been doing this for 2.5 hours now, and it barely feels like it's been that long. And part of that is, you know, that's what surprised me. Like when I did the pyramid build, which was like 100 hours, got through a lot of television and some live streams of games and stuff. And you're like, I went through an entire season of Doctor Who this afternoon, or this weekend. But look at all the progress I made. This would be a kind of hangout. It'd be kind of cool to get into a fellow crafter and do a little picture-in-picture split screen while we craft together. I have to start reaching out to some other craft streamers that be wanting to do that. Not too worried about the glue that's popped up on here. Stuff's pretty easy to sand. Now, while it does dry fairly quickly, I won't be moving these pieces until probably tomorrow. Be sure that they've sat thoroughly, or at least later this evening. Here. And here. Last one. This one. These are the front and the back railings. Now, for these other two railings, there we go. I gotta think about this because I gotta figure out the spacing, but also this piece here, this railing in the corner. Oh, you son of a... No, that works. Is shared. You know what else? I gotta trim these railings down. See, I didn't account for 530. Oh, see, here you go. Mumble math. Oh, here's what I didn't account for. Is for some reason I didn't account for this kind of a joint, which means on either side that 530 seconds gets added. So that means these two 7 3/4 inch pieces, if I had just gone ahead and started gluing everything, I'd realize, oh crap, they don't fit. So 1030 seconds or 530 seconds times 2 is 10/64. I hate fraction. What's 530 seconds in millimeters? Where's my little tiny one? Millimeters. Let's see. Barely see that. We're looking at we're looking at 4 millimeters So I just need to take 8mm off of each of these. So that's what I'm going to do now. I'm going to make a... Make a mark across these. You stupid. Clean up. All right. There we go. Trim those down. So they are now a little over 7 1/4, so like 7 3/8. So what I was getting at, going back to the original. Oh, thanks for stopping in, Brent. Glad you could join us. These are going to come in like this. So what I got to figure out is the spacing on... Got to figure out how to space these out. So, because I can't really go every inch, because we have like 3/8 of an inch left over. Unless I make the first two... a little bit longer. Yeah, that'll work. Okay, I think I got it. I got how I'm gonna do this. I guess I could do it up here. I can't see up there. Here. What I'm gonna do, I'm just centering it up. We're just going to make the ones on the end a little bit longer. So we don't need to put one on the end because there's already one there. We'll cheat this in the inside a hair. It's less noticeable. And jump over and do the other side too. Yeah, this is where you can tell getting late, and this is how I know it's starting to get to be time to call it a night, because people are dropping out. And that's fine. I know some UK viewers getting kind of late over there. Towards 9:30, 10 o'clock. But I want to make sure this. I consider this really good progress tonight. Huge shout out to Epic Dungeon Tiles for making cutting these things so much easier with that idea. Oh. Yeah. Keep on going. We're nearly done, and I think once these all get lined into place, we're gonna call it for the night. Definitely going to have some cleanup work to do. Files and whatnot, but that's fine. That's fine. It's going to be okay. It's all part of the process. What you got to do. All right. One more. Just making sure that lined up the same. I'll drop in these last few. Epic says, I find it really satisfying to complete these repetitive tasks. For crafting, I do, but I spent a decade working in a factory where I did the same thing day in and day out, all day, every day, and it was not satisfying. The only thing I miss there's times working in an office environment where I do miss the monotony of industrial manufacturing. Is one, I miss being more active, which made me be less overweight than sitting in a sedentary job. But also I miss my job required very little thought most of the time. So I was able to create a lot of ideas and concepts, but I didn't play D&D back then. And if I worked in a factory now, I'd have even more epic campaign. I'd probably be doing world building stuff. But no, I'm glad I don't work in that environment anymore. It's not right. Wasn't right for me. All right, I feel really good about how these railings are turning out. We'll see if I still feel that way when I go to pull them up from the mat later and they all just stick to the mat, because that would suck. Alright, just about done here. Couple more. Now, I don't remember if it was Brent or if it was you, Epic, that asked. I know somebody said, hey, are you going to need all 36 of those pieces of wood? Well, no. I used 30 of them, though. Got 6 left over. But yeah, I'm still going to need a lot more for the cross pieces, and let's see. This feels mostly look at that. That first one's pretty much it's still wet. But yeah, there's that first one. So yeah, I feel pretty good about this. Came up off of the mat really easily. So no worries there. All right, well, hunched over all this time, my back's killing me. All right, well, thank you everybody for tuning in for the last 2.5 hours, or at any point during the last 2.5 hours, for some Guild Artisan here on Mini Terrain Domain, MTD. Be sure to follow Mini Terrain Domain, follow at MTD_Jake on Twitter if you want to stay up to date on all the stuff that I'm doing. I pretty much announce everything there. And we'll see how YouTube's new feature works to let me do that as well. These streams happen whether you like the crafting or you like live play games. They happen on Twitch and YouTube. You can choose your platform. On either platform, give me a follow, a subscribe, or whatever. Hit the little chime button, and you'll get notified whenever I go live. Thanks for throwing the link to Twitter in there. Epic Dungeon Tiles. And Epic, thank you for the for this simple idea that was simple but epic. Use this little clamp on my miter box to make cutting all these little wood pieces that much easier. I'm genuinely glad for when even 1 or 2 people join me on these streams. I genuinely appreciate you taking the time out of your day and joining me as I go on this crafting experience. I learned a little bit from you, and I hope you learned a little bit from me. Keep your eye out. We'll probably be doing more of these on the weekends once we get on the other side of the holidays, or at least Thanksgiving. Probably do a couple more of these. But yeah, you can also tune in on Mondays, Sundays, Mondays, and Thursdays for regular streamed games, or you can catch them the next day on YouTube after they stream, because they stream right to YouTube. They get archived there. We're running a Tomb of Annihilation campaign, we're running a Waterdeep Dragon Heist campaign, and we're running a more kind of Tales from the Yawning Portal campaign on Thursdays. So with that, I'm going to head on out of here and call it a day. Thank you for stopping by. Remember, the tagline of Mini Terrain Domain is Imagine, Build, Play. And I'm going to leave the stream the same way I leave every stream, and you can say it along with me if you want. Today.